Hello and welcome to day 3 of our beauty makeup bag sew along. Today we'll be finishing the bottom part of the project, so everything except for the pouch and the handle. So for that you need your main, front and lining. The lining is the one we finished yesterday, and your bottom, front and lining. Let's start by adding the Velcro part. Velcro is just the brand name for hoop and loop. It's like calling a copy maker a Xerox machine. It's Velcro is just a brand name. It's like spandex. Everyone calls it cotton lycra, but lycra it's a brand name for spandex. So that's neither here nor there. So this is 4.5, so at 2 1/4 I'm marking my center lines to add the Velcro. So it's 2 1/4 the center marking. You want to use the male part of the Velcro, so the rough part on this piece, and I'm going to fold it in half and match the center. My piece is 1 1/4 or 1.5 inch long. The pattern calls for 3/4 of an inch Velcro that you want to center. I didn't have any and I didn't want to buy any, so I'm just using the one I have. So that's why you may notice that my piece is a little wider than yours, because mine is 1.5 inches. So I'm centering that. You can also run some like very wide zigzag stitches, like triangles, like the pattern suggests, on the center to help it hold in place, or you can run like a big X across. Anything to give it like extra stability. If you snag your top pouch so it doesn't snag the whole Velcro. How rough can you be with this, honestly? Maybe if you make it for kids, for like a school pouch, pencil box or whatever, you need the extra durability. So set that aside and grab your bottom outer, and we're going to be adding the feet. The pattern piece has actually a placement guide, which is awesome. I'm going to be using that placement guide. I punched some holes in the actual pattern piece, so I'm going to be marking it on the bottom. Like so. The markings are the purple ones. Because I'm using Chicago spruce type purse fit, I'm gonna put 2 tiny holes on those markings with my punch holder. If you're using the regular purse fit with the prongs, you just make tiny slits with your seam ripper. So the holes are done. Grab one screw and a backing, and using a tiny screwdriver I'm gonna go ahead and screw that on and repeat the step for all 4 of them. Oops. I'm just looking to make sure that my hole is big enough. I might need to go one size larger for the hole. I haven't used this before, this type of purse fit. Let's see, is that big enough now? Yes, perfect. So now I'm gonna push the screw on the other side and just screw it on. I'm holding it with my finger on that side, the wrong side. And then I have a little screwdriver here just to make sure it tightens very, very well. That it's super tight. Alright, so this is how it looks like. I'm gonna repeat the steps for all 4 purse feet and then continue sewing the bag. My purse feet are now attached, all 4 of them. Beautiful. So now let's start assembling the bottom of the bag, both lining and main, and then we'll put the bias tape. That's all for today. Right sides together for both the main and the lining. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And you're going to create 2 identical pieces right now. You do want to top stitch your seam allowances. It's going to look much nicer if you top stitch your seam allowance. So I'll top stitch it towards the bottom. You won't see me in the video creating bias tape because I don't, period. I've said that in the first video, like I will not make my own bias tape. I don't want to waste my custom fabric to create bias tape. I don't want to waste my time to create bias tape when I can spend $2 at Walmart or Joann and get pre-made bias tape in a million colors that will look beautiful, and it's somebody else already did the work and you cannot find the color that match. Now if you're a hero like Christina is and make your own bias tape, go ahead and do that and show it off, because you totally should. It's like people who hand stitch their birth bag openings. It's like they're heroes in my book. I am not one of them. So I've sewn my center bottom to the center sides, right sides together, top stitched. It's gonna look like this, and you want to repeat the same exact step for the lining. My lining is now all done. So you have your lining, you have your main. So right now we're gonna put those 2 together with bias tape. So lay your piece, your front right side down. And then your lining, right side up. This way, the wrong sides together. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of pins. Make sure that you do match the seams at the bottom. I'll put a couple of pins and I'm going to baste around it. I know it would be easier to just leave it pinned and add bias tape, but it's gonna be easier to sew the bias tape if this is already sewn in place. I am not one to baste all the time. I'm more of a lazy sewist. Like I'll use pins, but not this time. Like when you have to add bias tape, I do suggest you baste first. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. So you can baste with just a long stitch. And because of the purse fit, it might have been easier to baste with the purse fit up. But hey, live and learn. Because I can feel them over there at the bottom. You might want to go slow for these steps with your regular home sewing machine, because not all of them will enjoy all these layers as much as you are. How beautiful is this? And it doesn't even have the tape yet. It looks so gorgeous. So Alex, so oh my goodness, this is so cute. Now that we've taken a second to admire the work in progress, it's time to add the bias tape. For all you heroes out there, this is where you'll create your bias tape by cutting your fabric on the bias and making long strips. For all the non-heroes out there like me, this is where you open your package of bias tape. Oh man. So if you notice in the package, I don't know how well you can see, but there's the bottom fold is a smidge bigger, so that will be on the outside, this will be on the inside. So what you want to do is open it up all the way, starting from your one of the center of the bottom. You want to put a few pins in place. I don't tend to pin the bias tape. I find it's easier to work with it in the round, especially since I'm not cutting the exact side. I'm working with it straight off the roll. So you want to fold the top to make like a triangle. I'll show you a close-up right after I pin it down. So this is how it looks like folded. This is the right side towards the lining, then this is folded like so, and this is where we're gonna start sewing the binding. So back stitch at the beginning and at the end, and you're going to sew in that first crease. I'm using that crease as a guide, and you want to have the raw edges aligned, the raw edge of the bias tape and the raw edge of your bag aligned. Go slow around the curve. The reason you need to use bias tape and not straight strips of fabric is for these curves. If you're cutting the fabric along the grain, it will not curve nicely. So in order for it to curve nicely, it needs to be on the bias, because the bias basically gives woven the tiniest of elasticity, so it curves easier. This is the part that you'll be going the slowest probably in the whole process. And I did match, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back, I did match my thread to the bias tape. in my machine. I changed my top and bobbin thread. I swear I deserve a prize just for this. I am not one to match my threads all the time because I honestly just sew for fun and just for me. I don't sew to sell. I don't need perfection. I call it an accent statement, the non-matching thread in all my projects, because I just want to enjoy the process. So this time I'm pretending to be a good teacher, and I matched my thread in the bobbin and on the top. We are almost at the end. I'm still going around the circle. So now I can kind of see how much bias tape I need. So I'm just going to cut the excess, and whatever is left I'm going to use on a different project. Not much left, but enough. So now you want to come and overlap your bias tape to the initial part. And top stitch and back stitch, and I'll show you how it looks like right now. So this is how it looks like on your corners. I did find that it helps to trim a little bit of the corners off. So this is how it looks before we fold. Let's see, it doesn't need to all the time, but sometimes. Oh, I think I don't need it this time around. So now you want to take your fabric and fold it towards your main part. It's gonna fold super easy, at least if you've used store-bought bias tape. You're gonna hate me by the end of this video. I swear I'm not hating on anyone making their own bias tape. I love Christina. I really do, but I won't make it. So here you want to make sure where the two pieces fold together, you want to make sure that there is no raw edge. So you fold your bottom into your top like so, and this is probably the only place where I'll actually put a pin to hold it. But let me show you the close-up first. This is how it will look like from your right side. Come on, zoom. There you go. So this is how it looks like from your right side, and this is how it looks like from the back. There is no raw edge. Everything is enclosed. So now I'll keep flipping it all, and because the bias tape already has a crease, it stays practically by itself. You can obviously add a few pins if you're more comfortable, but see, it kind of stays by itself. This is not even sewn. So now you want to go ahead and sew all around again. So we're gonna sew all around as close as we can get it to the edge, making sure that it catches the bottom part. That's why, remember I showed you before, it has a slightly longer bottom, and that's why, because it helps to make sure that it's caught in the fold here. I just want to make sure that this looks pretty. Right here. Okay. I start a little further away than that overlap, Again, you're gonna go very slow here. I don't know, there's something about bias tape bonding that makes it so cute. This could have been turned, like the pattern designer could have just made you turn inside out, sew them wrong sides together, leave an opening, and then turn, but it wouldn't have looked this nice. And with all the deco inside, the peltex and the fleece, it would have been very thick to turn. But again, not as nice looking. This tape, this bias tape, gives it such a nice pop of color. While it may not be people's favorite thing to sew, it gives it such a nice finished look. Last corner. So this is the last step for today. Tomorrow we'll start working on the little center pouch. Okay, I'm getting to the beginning. And all done. Make sure everything looks nice and straight. Nothing flipped. Now is a good time to fix any issues you might see. Look how cute. This is looking mighty cute. Alright, so snap a picture of your finished bottom part and post it in the day 3 photo of the Sew Along album. This will count as your check-in for today. And tomorrow we'll start sewing the little pouch that goes in the center. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye!